Good day, everyone. I'm going to call the regular council meeting for Wednesday, July 14th, 2021 to order. You all have the agenda in front of you. Is there any additions or deletions to the circulated? Deputy Warden, you have the floor.
Yes, for the in-camera agenda items, I'd like to add meetings for official business.
11.4, meetings for official business. And that would fall under, you said in camera, and that would fall under,
Contract negotiations, is that what?
yes, that would be under the contract negotiations. I don't know what letter subsection that is, but that's where it's going, in camera. Is there any more additions or deletions to the agenda? Councillor Daniel Allen?
Just noticing our agenda, and this is an official council meeting. I'm not noticing the national anthem.
So it's actually an abbreviated agenda, Councillor Allen. We don't have the committee reports either. When
Okay.
you agreed to your summer meeting schedule, council asked for abbreviated council meetings just to deal with the business required.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Moved by Councillor Allen. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Hurlbert. Motion on the floor to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Item number 3, declarations of conflict of interest. I'm going to tell the Deputy Warden, I've already mentioned to him, I will be declaring a conflict of interest in item 6.1, the fleet tender summary. So during that meeting, or that portion of the meeting, I'll be stepping away from the chair, and the Deputy Warden will be taking the chair up here. As soon as that's over, I'll return. If there's anyone else that has any concerns, please advise me, and I'll get the recording secretary to let you all know. Okay, item number 4, approval of the minutes. What is the wishes of council in regards to those? Councillor Hurlbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that Municipality of the District of Yarmouth approve special council meeting minutes June 14th, 2020-21, and the regular council meeting minutes June 23rd, 2021.
Okay, a motion on the floor to approve those meeting minutes. All those, seconded by Councillor Patty Durkee. There was a whole bunch of fingers I seen go up all of a sudden. A motion on the floor to approve the meeting minutes, moved by Councillor Sherry Hurlbert, seconded by Councillor Patty Durkee. Is there any discussion on those meeting minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Item number 5, recommendations from the Committee of the Whole. I have 5. One is in regards to litter. Yes, absolutely, Madam CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it was recommended by Committee of the Whole that council approve a fund of $1,750 from the grant contingency for a community litter program of $175 per kilometer, that there be a review at the end of the year, that it be a partnership with Waste Check.
Yes, Councillor Allen.
So can I make that an official motion?
Yes, you can say I so move.
I so move.
Okay, motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councillor Nick Hilton. Is there any discussion about that? Question being called on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. All right, there's a second recommendation from the Committee of the Whole regarding contacting the town and Acadia First Nations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was recommended to council by Committee of the Whole that the municipality of the District of Yarmouth write to Acadia First Nations and the town of Yarmouth with a carbon copy to transportation and active transportation, as well as our MLAs, and ask for a conversation around active transportation and upgrades to Highway number 3 along the airport stretch.
I so move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Nick Hilton. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Daniel Allen. Is there any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? Motion carried unanimously. All right, a third one is in regards to the ferry terminal and meeting with the town. Madam CEO?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it was recommended by committee of the whole to council that whereas the municipality, the District of Yarmouth invested $1.2 million in Phase 1 of retrofits to the Yarmouth Ferry Terminal, that the town of Yarmouth be invited to present to council on the plans for the Phase 2 development to accommodate Canada Border Services requirements.
This is moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by Councillor Patty Durkee. Any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary? Motion carried unanimously. All right, another one would be in regards to work on land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it was recommended to council by committee of the whole that whereas the municipality of District of Yarmouth is intent on developing a diversity and inclusion program, that staff research and recommend a land acknowledgement to council.
Moved by Councillor Sherry Hurlbert. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Daniel Allen. Is there any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary? Motion carried unanimously. And I believe this is the fifth and final one in regards to writing the MP and MLA.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it was recommended by committee of the whole to council that whereas the municipality of the District of Yarmouth recognizes significant gaps in cellular service across the district, that we write to the Member of Parliament, the Member of Legislative Assembly, and the Western Region Enterprise Network Board and request that cell service become a priority for their activities.
Moved by Councillor Patty Durkee. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Sherry Hurlbert. Any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. And I do believe that's all the recommendations from the committee of the whole. All right, moving on to item 5.2, second reading of REMO bylaw R-036-21. Madam CEO?
So, Mr. Chair, just recommending that council move forward and make a motion to approve second reading of the Regional Emergency Management Bylaw.
Moved by Deputy Warden. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushion. Is there any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Item 5.3, Renewal Development Agreement Number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this really largely is a process piece. So Development Agreement Number 13 was fully vetted by the council of the day when it was approved by council under the legislatively required process. COVID-19 has prevented the developer from moving forward and having the investors come to the site, and so they've requested an extension to their development agreement for 5 years.
What is the wishes of the council? Councillor Allen.
I want to make a motion that we grant the developer the extension of 5 years and renew the development agreement number 13.
Motion on the floor, seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushing. Is there any discussion on that motion? Question being called. All those in favor? Sorry, Councillor Durkee, did you want to speak? My apologies, I did not see you in the queue. You have the
Well,
floor.
I wasn't fast enough. My fault.
No.
Just a question, do we have any idea, through you to our CAO, about movement on this and how, yes, we do, yay.
So the proposed development is fully licensed now by the agencies at the senior levels of government, and so plans were in place to have investors on site this last year, and because of COVID, they weren't able to be on site. So it's my understanding that we should expect in the next calendar year the next step, which would be an application for a building permit.
Okay, wonderful, thank you very much, great news.
Any more discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, moving on to item 6.1. I am declaring a conflict in regards to the fleet tender summary, so I'm going to ask the deputy warden to come over and take up the chair. And I'm just going to pull this up on my computer so he can... There. There it is there, Trevor.
Perfect, thank you, Warden Cunningham. The next item of business deals with a tender for Modi fleet vehicles, and you see the recommendation of our CAOs. Somebody want to make a motion to that effect? Councillor Allen.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the bid.
Could you turn your microphone on, please, Counselor?
Lame. All right, I completely lost my, am I allowed to include the numbers in this? Okay. So I would like to make a motion that the municipality of the District of Yarmouth accept the bid of $34,515.70 on the 2021 Ford Escape 4x4 utility vehicle, that we accept the bid of $54,290.65 on the 2020 F-250, and reject the bids for the 4x4 1/2-ton truck.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Hurlbert seconds the motion.
No, Hilton, I think.
Sorry, Hilton. And Councillor Hurlbert, you want to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question about rejecting because it is over budget according to our specs, but the half, is it the, so one we're accepting two and rejecting one, but two are over budget and one is on budget. Can we just have maybe an explanation as to why, am I reading that wrong?
I think you might be missing a piece. So we have, in the package, there were prices on 4 vehicles. We received 2 bids on the vehicle for Public Works, and they were both over budget.
Okay.
The bid for development and for recreation on page 2 were on budget.
Okay, thank you. My apologies.
No worries. Seeing no other lights, oh, yes, Councillor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I do have a question through you to our CAO. Will we be reoffering, will we be going back to back out to tender for the half-ton series vehicle?
We will have to go back out to the marketplace and try to secure a bid that meets the specs and the budget requirements, because we do need the piece of equipment, so we will go back out to the marketplace and see what we can do. We only had one bidder this time, which, you know, it is okay because you were able to get what you needed for the price you had budgeted. And hopefully when we go out the second time, maybe there'll be more interest. What we're finding is this is a supply chain issue. So if you notice in your packages, I've included the delivery timelines for the products that you're approving today. It's possible, I don't know this, but because of my experience in supply chain management and when I used to bid on projects, the further out your delivery time, the harder it is to have a high level of confidence in your expected total landed cost. And so because in the vehicle industry, supply chains are so backlogged, it's possible that some people can't enter a competition for tenders because their delivery times are so far out, they don't know if they can make an informed bid and not perhaps have negative consequences for themselves.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, CAO Brooks. I'm seeing no other lights lit up, so I'll call for a question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion unanimously covered. I'll return the chair to Warden Cunningham.
Thank you very much, Deputy Warden. Okay, item number 6.2, road naming approval, private roads.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So our GIS technician has submitted a letter to council. The naming of roads in Nova Scotia is governed by process. It's largely technical. It's done for reasons mostly around safety and emergency response. And so in the letter to you from the GIS technician, he has described for you two private roads that need names. One that was able to be named within the required process based on what the community wanted. The second one, which is where you're being asked to make a decision, basically there was a split on the part of the community in terms of what they wanted to name the road, and the GIS technician has recommended the name Caterpillar Loop to you for the second road because it meets with the required standards for road names. So what would be in order would be a motion to name that road Caterpillar Loop.
Deputy Warden, you have the floor.
Yes, so I'll move that the municipality district of Yarmouth approve the recommendation of our mapping technician, Alex D'Entremont, in accordance with the circulated document that signifies the naming of the private road as Caterpillar Lane. Loop, sorry, my apologies.
Caterpillar Loop, motion on the floor. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Lauren Cushing. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right, the next agenda item is in camera, so I'd entertain a motion to go into camera. Moved by,
We don't, Councillor Hilton, because it conforms with the required standards, so it's done just through the process.
all right, a motion by Councillor Allen to move into camera. Do I have a seconder? Second by Deputy Warden. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you.